Luxury, a word that's used to describe opulence and extravagance, I feel today has diluted in value somewhat, especially when it comes to the world of automobiles. So folks, we're on a mission today to find out what it truly means to be luxurious with a machine that simply claims to be the best car in the world, the Mercedes S-Class. And here it is in the flesh, ladies and gentlemen, the new S-Class. Elegant is the first word that comes to mind. Now, being a facelift, it gets a couple of minor tweaks to the exteriors. We're talking about a new front chrome grille, new front and rear bumpers, and the most prominent exterior change is this new headlamp cluster. This new eyebrow LED DRL design is going to see its way percolate throughout the range. We have 3 strips for the S-Class, 2 strips for the E-Class, and 1 strip for the C-Class. Now when it comes to exteriors, I do have 2 niggles with the car. First is the wheels. Now these are 18-inch alloy wheels. I think the design is a little too basic, a little too plain Jane. However, it's more function than form because these 18-inch wheels are perfect to maintain ride quality and also durability on our Indian roads. And the next niggle I have, ladies and gentlemen, is right here with the rear bumper. Now you have this nice chrome accented strip on what appears to be tailpipes, but however, they're fake. There's nothing in there. The pipe is right below. So that is a little bit disappointing. On the inside, there are 2 new pieces of prominent technology. One being the 2 new driver displays and the second being the 3-spoke multifunction steering wheel.
The dual screen setup is configurable with 3 preset themes and features customizable displays like a power and torque gauge and even a G-force gauge. The overall layout of the dash is clean with minimal buttons to keep you focused on the road. The S-Class features a new multifunction steering wheel with capacitive scrollers, making it more intuitive to use. And this steering wheel will see its way down the range, including the C and even the upcoming A-Class models.
But the biggest highlight with this specific S-Class is the new BS6 engine. So let's hit the road and find out how it drives. Okay, so behind the wheel of a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the first thing that strikes you is just how refined the whole driving experience is. Now this new multifunction steering wheel, in the flesh it performs really well, feels really nice to hold. Of course now also with the electrically assisted steering rack, the steering is nice and light. It's surprising how easy this is a car to drive. It's about 5.5 meters long, but driving up here to the highways, negotiating it in the tight and twisty streets of Hyderabad hasn't really been a problem with it. Now the talking point here is the OM656 engine, essentially India's first BS6 compliant engine developed by Mercedes-Benz. They also say that this is the most powerful diesel engine they've ever produced in India. Now this engine produces 286 bhp and 600 Nm of torque, and as one would expect, it performs perfectly fine. The power delivery is nice and linear, and it's fairly punchy as well. This car can do 0 to 100 in about 6 seconds. And keep in mind folks, this car weighs well over 2 tons. So what makes this BS6 OM656 engine really special? Now, essentially in India, we adopted European standards of essentially gauging particulate matter. And why is it so important? Well, the biggest case in point was what happened last year in Delhi. There were a lot of reasons why the pollution went out of control, but essentially one of the main ways of measuring the level of pollution was through measuring particulate matter, and diesel engines produce a lot of it. So what Mercedes has essentially done, they have managed to hit the BS6 standards of emitting particulate matter while still running on BS4 fuel. And the way they do this is through a technology called AdBlue.
The AdBlue system sprays a urea solution over the exhaust fumes after it passes through the catalytic converter, further scrubbing additional harmful particulate matter without affecting performance. While the technology is novel, I think the petrol engine is overall a better package.
Now this AdBlue technology, because essentially it's a solution, it's a tank that has to be topped up constantly. So it comes in a tank of 2 liters, 5 liters, to up to 25 liters, and that's one of the options you can buy the car in. Coming to the ride quality of the car, the suspension is incredible. It's planted yet supple. This air suspension is essentially a pneumatic system, and what it aims to do is that under cases where there's heavy braking involved or you're going over a speed breaker, where the weight transfer of the car goes towards the front, the air suspension kicks in and pushes the front up and keeps it as flat as possible while maintaining the supple ride quality that you would expect from a car like this.
In sports mode, the system hunkers down by 20 millimeters, and there is even a lift button that raises the suspension by 30 millimeters to get over obstacles.
Now coming to the safety tech on the car. So this Mercedes have very proudly said that this car is equipped with what is essentially level 2 autonomy features. So it's got radar guided cruise control, it's got active steering assist, active brake assist, and active blind spot assist as well. In addition to that, the car also has a bunch of other tech features. For example, the adaptive headlight. Firstly, the headlights look absolutely brilliant. I love the design of the multi-beam headlamp cluster. It looks really nice. It's got 84 individual LEDs which constantly scan the road, so it can automatically adjust the brightness of the lamps, which means that it gives you maximum visibility as well. So I think it's a very, very clever feature. Being behind the steering wheel of the S-Class, one thing that is very apparent is that this is not a driver's car. It's a car for a driver, but not a driver's car for a chauffeur, basically. And there are a couple of clues to that. First off, the seats themselves. These are adjustable, yes, great, but they have no memory function. So in case somebody else drives it, you have to kind of, fiddle it and get it back to the position you left it in. Secondly is these seats are heated, but they're not cooled, which in, this 40+ degree heat makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it does. The buttons here are really oriented towards the rear passenger comfort. So there's like a button here that pulls down the rear shades. There's a button that readjusts the rear headrest. So a lot of the buttons and a lot of the controls in the front are really aimed at the passengers in the back, which means that we have to go check out the back. This is where most of the attention on the S-Class has gone to, because after all, this is what you pay for. Let's just get a little bit of the sun off the way. It's bothering my eyes a little bit. Starting with the smart thermotronic climate control system, you have individual controls for the rear passengers as well, which means that this car effectively has 4-zone climate control. And then there are the seats themselves. These are massive captain seats. They're infinitely adjustable in a whole variety of ways. Now, how you control pretty much all the functions on the car is through this nifty little remote here. And when I mean pretty much all functions, I really mean all functions. Through the remote, you can control which screen you specifically want to control, which also means which zone you want to control. So for example, here I have the rear left seat. I can get into the settings here, change my specific climate control preferences, change my seat preferences. And then there is the wireless charging facility on the phone. You simply place it right here on this wireless charging pad and your phone should charge, which in my case, it's not. I guess it's a subtle way of reminding me that this car is way above my pay grade. In addition to that, you can also control the car dynamics from the rear. And I'm not even joking, guys. Using the control, I can change, like we have Ronak right here, and Ronak's a great driver, but I find the suspension is a little too stiff. So without his permission, I'm going to change the settings of the car to a more comfortable suspension so I can bask in the main party trick of this car. And that is, it's gonna take a little while, guys. Bear with me, it's worth it. Yeah, just hold on for a second. It's moving. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 43 degrees of recline, and the seat converts into a little lounge. And the front seat basically moves way ahead in front. I get all legroom in the world. This essentially translates into a first class airline seat, if you will. And there's a little stool as well that pops out. And I can just relax, pretend that I've got something important to do, maybe some company that I want to acquire, while I get a hot stone massage because I'm worth it. The rear has individual inputs and individual wireless headsets for rear passengers to consume the content of their choice. The S-Class even offers onboard Wi-Fi with a built-in dual-band router. It's insane how comfortable I am right now. Literally, it's going to be quite a bummer getting back to my bed tonight. This is what comfort's all about, ladies and gentlemen. And what's amazing about all of this is that it's just under a layer of technology. There's not a lot of buttons going on. Everything is nice and clean. The layout's nice and clean. It doesn't feel too cluttered, too claustrophobic. And I guess that's what makes this car really special.
And what is the price of all this extravagant luxury? Well, the range starts from 1.33 crore rupees.
Alright folks, so after spending a day with the new S-Class, it's time to address the 2 points we asked ourselves in the beginning of this video, starting with the luxury aspect of this car. If you think about what's going on in this car simultaneously, starting from those incredible seats, those individual infotainment systems, to that 4-zone climate control, to the air suspension, to the autonomous technology, to the radar systems, all of that working simultaneously, all that complicated technology working in the back end, but is masked in a veil of simplicity. That's what luxury is about. It's a car that just takes care of things for you without you even realizing. And that brings up our second point. Does that make this then the best car in the world? I'm of the opinion that it's a very highly subjective question to answer. But having spent the day with the car, I can see why it was given that title. With that, thank you so much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. Do let us know what you thought about the S-Class in the comment section below. And as for me, after spending a day in first class, it looks like I'm going to go back to economy. Thank you for watching. I'm going to miss those seats. Bye-bye.